Dave, how about denials? Let's move
Well,
on to a new chapter.
before we go there, Jared, I just want to take a few minutes here. I'm going to go back to page 1 for a minute. Roman number 1, the first thing that I said was that an application was an oral or written request for an extension of credit made in accordance with your procedures. And many of our clients like to say, well, we want our procedures to just be, we'll have a Reg B app when we have a TRID app. That's not really, you don't get to define the rules. And so Jared just explained to you TRIDs, very specific, these 6 items. Reg B and HMDA, that are saying you have an app. You can't say, I don't have an app because I don't have this information. You don't have a completed app is where I'm trying to push this. And that's where this gets complicated. So you can't take one reg and say, well, we're going to take that and put it across the board to all the other regs, like business day, for instance, you probably know is defined differently. So this is an area that is a foundation of everything. So when does the loan estimate start? When does the appraisal disclosure, joint intent, all those things, right? You have to have a thorough understanding of this. And oftentimes we don't. Jared, so I'm just going to take you back. You and I have, I'm going to say, argued over this page 68.
Never.
That strategic, right? Yeah. So this is what we do. And we like to call it thought leadership, or we just like to argue. But that strategic collection, you heard me say it and Jared repeated it. You can't refuse information. And I talked about a tennis game. Okay. So let's put that into, Jared, you're applying and I say, this is what I need from you when I'm hitting the ball back over the court. Reg B says, I have to make sure that I'm playing. Or I can tell Jared, no, you're a loser. Bye-bye. But I got to send denial, which we're going to get to here in a minute. I can cut it off, but he's going to get a piece of paper that says, no. I need to make sure that I'm not discouraging, that I'm not illegally discriminating, I'm not dragging my feet. And so that strategic collection and that Reg B part about being reasonable diligence, there's a little fine line there. Again, come back in here a minute and, you didn't ask me, I'm sorry, I'm the loan officer. I didn't ask you for something is fine, right?
Correct.
So that I don't have the all 6 piece of information. But if you're giving it to me, I can't refuse it is what you said. But give me a little more on, I didn't ask you, how do I justify that I'm exercising reasonable diligence? Because that word says, it sounds to me like I should be going after it. And you're saying, I don't have to ask for it. So can you reconcile those for me?
Yeah. So Reg B is, how do I say it? Reg B is a very thin regulation that is very much open to interpretation. And that's the part that you and I have debated several times. Yep. And so if we go back to page 68, TRID was very transparent about how it wanted to put this thing together. And they wanted to make sure there was some flexibility in the application process. We're not talking about never asking for something. We're talking about, you know what, today I'm not going to ask for this piece of information. And it's building blocks. And so that line is shaded. There's no question. There's a gray area there and that overlaps in Reg B. The key, though, is just making certain you're not discouraging somebody from moving forward.
Yeah, good. That's what I want to make sure that people understand that we're not purposely ignoring, but it is okay to not ask. And eventually you're going to, but you also can't ignore information. And in fact, just today, Diane and I were talking with one of our clients about you had to issue a proper loan estimate, right? We need to go get information so that we can issue the best guess, if you will, and things like that. So don't just say, I don't know. I'm not going to try to know. That's where this balance is at. And again, these 3 regs, a little complicated in that they're all slightly a little different. Can't say one date satisfies all. In all cases, as Jared mentioned, many times people come in and they give you everything that you need to satisfy all 3 of these. We have an app. So thanks, Jared. Appreciate that. I'm going to go on then.